What's up, guys? The Snowman here. Happy 2025 tennis season to you all. Welcome to my Australian Open Women's Draw preview. Please take a look at my men's draw preview as well. If you're interested, that video already up, but a brand new tennis year and a new opportunity to break down a Grand Slam draw. So we'll go through each section of this women's field and talk about the biggest storylines at the 2025 Australian Open. Starting off with the top quarter of this women's singles draw, at the very top is the current world number one, Aryna Sabalenka. She knocked off Iga Swiatek from that pedestal. Swiatek held the number one ranking for the better part of the last 2.5 years, but Sabalenka, the new player to beat on the WTA Tour, especially in Australia. Sabalenka winning the title here at the Aussie Open in 2023 and 24. She consolidated that success by winning the 2024 US Open as well, so 3 major titles now. Sabalenka, the heavy favorite to win this event ahead of Coco Gauff. Rightly so when you consider the Belarusian is 27-1 at her last 4 hard-court major appearances. Once upon a time, she had the double fault issues, but since mitigating those problems, Sabalenka has unleashed a frightening brand of tennis for her opponents. She already has a title in 2025, 5 match wins, and a trophy in Brisbane to christen the new season. And what a first-round match we've got. Sabalenka plays the 2017 US Open champion Sloane Stephens. Perhaps a third-round match against number 29 Linda Noskova. That's dangerous. Just a year ago at this very tournament, Noskova played the world number one in Iga Swiatek and knocked her out in the third round. So the Czech youngster hoping history repeats itself. We've also got the 14 seed Mira Andreeva, 17 years old and likely the next brand new major champion in my estimation. She and Sabalenka just met in the Roland Garros quarterfinals last year, won by Andreeva. She won't be afraid of that match. Will throw in a lot of variety and change of pace balls against Aryna. That would be an incredible 4th round prospect. And then, oh, by the way, at the bottom we have number 5 Qinwen Zheng, the reigning finalist in Australia. Followed that up by winning a gold medal at the Paris Olympics, just the 2nd Chinese player to reach the top 10 of the rankings after Li Na. Great serve, powerful ground strokes. Would be amazing if we get that final rematch from last year, Zhang and Sabalenka in the quarters this year. The 18 seed Donna Vekic is dangerous. I would just caution people who are already crowning Sabalenka with a 3-peat title in Australia. She definitely deserves to be the favorite, but one of these days Andreeva is going to bust through to a major final. This is a very challenging path for the world number one. Next section now, number 3, Coco Gauff leads the way here. I feel like Coco primed to win another major in 2025. Semis in Australia last season. She's got the number 2 odds to win this title after Sabalenka, the player who ended her Australian dreams last season. And Gauff comes in red hot, a winner of her last 9 matches. She's actually lifted a trophy in each of her last 2 events. The WTA year-end finals to end 2024, and then Gauff teamed up with Taylor Fritz on the men's side to win the United Cup mixed competition last week. So again, I'd be pretty shocked if she doesn't win a second major this year. She faced 4 top 32 players at the United Cup, including Iga Swiatek, and didn't drop a single set. It's kind of a big deal that Coco is on the same half of the draw as Sabalenka, and then this second quarter specifically is brutal. Plenty of dangerous opponents lurking. Right off the bat, Gauff draws an ex-Australian Open champion in Sofia Kenin. Kenin defeated Gauff at Wimbledon 2023, and she won their match at the Aussie Open 5 years ago when Kenin went on to win the whole thing, so that could get tricky for Coco. The 30 seed Leylah Fernandez is nearby. Then we get to the most loaded mini section of the entire draw. 20 seed Karolina Muchova with 2-time Aussie Open champ Naomi Osaka nearby. And then just a few lines below that, Belinda Bencic and number 16 Yelena Ostapenko meeting in the first round. So there's going to be some major carnage in this section. Muchova had wrist surgery that caused her to miss the Aussie Open last year, but returned in the second half of the year. Semifinals at the US Open. She's been in the Final 4 in Melbourne before. Don't count her out. Then you have Osaka, who was out all of 2023 due to maternity leave. Showed glimpses of her old form in 2024, but lacked consistency and stamina throughout long tournaments. She's working with Patrick Mouratoglou now as of a few months ago. Mouratoglou, of course, helped Serena Williams win Grand Slams at the tail end of her career. He's one of the best minds in tennis. Naomi did retire with an abdominal injury prior to Auckland final last week, so that would be a concern, but otherwise I wouldn't bet against her, especially in Melbourne. And then going back to that first rounder, Bencic Ostapenko, that's the biggest blockbuster of the first round in my opinion. Bencic, another new mom on tour. I'd actually make her a slight favorite over the 16 seed. And oh, by the way, number 7, Jess Pegula at the bottom. She's one of 10 or so ladies that have a legitimate shot at winning this whole thing. Pegula was 0-6 in her first 6 major quarterfinal appearances, but finally broke that streak by playing the match of her life in the 2024 U.S. Open quarters versus Swiatek. Ended up making the U.S. Open final before losing to Sabalenka. So this second quarter, it's loaded in every way. I can't wait. Moving over to the third quarter, where the top seed is number 4, Jasmine Paolini. She was the ultimate late bloomer last season, 29 years of age now, and before 2024 had never been past the second round of a major in 27 attempts. Last season, she reached the 4th round in every major, including 2 major finals at Roland Garros and Wimbledon. Paolini became the second oldest player to make her debut at the WTA year-end finals to end last season. Only 5'4", but packs an incredible punch, such a potent, heavy topspin forehand. And she could see number 28, Elina Svitolina, in the 3rd round. The 22 seed, Katie Boulter, has been steadily on the rise the last couple of years. Number 15, Beatriz Haddad-Maia, coming off a quarterfinal appearance at the U.S. Open a handful of months ago. A really enticing section then with 2 top American seeds in number 10, Danielle Collins, and number 19, Madison Keys. Collins had told everyone that 2024 would be her swan song season playing professional tennis, but then she had one of the best years of her life and has since postponed that retirement. Madison Keys, always a threat at the majors too. She looks to be in a great groove this week in Adelaide. Just beat down Garia Kasatkina in a match where Keys hit something like 38 winners and Kasatkina only had 1. Number 32, Diana Yastremska, made the semifinals as a qualifier at the Australian Open 12 months ago. That's not to mention number 6, Elena Rybakina at the top. Another perennial contender, former Australian Open finalist from 2023, did get upset in the second round last year, and maybe the match of the tournament, a 42-point final tiebreaker to Anna Blinkova. Honestly, I think the winner of Collins and Keys has a great shot to get out of this quarter, but all of the seeds here are really solid. 6 of the 8 seeds have made the semifinals at hardcourt majors before, so it's very balanced. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go off the beaten path and take Keys to reach the final 4. Moving on to our final quarter, this is the section that's a little bit more wide open, a little bit more opportunity. At last year's Aussie Open, 4 of the 8 quarterfinalists were unseeded. Wouldn't shock me if we get an unranked player from this 4th quarter. All eyes will be on the 2-seed Iga Swiatek, second in ranking to Sabalenka, but if you dive a little bit deeper, Iga had a better overall record in 2024, the most wins on tour at 64. She won a 4th French Open title. The main reason, though, that Swiatek isn't still number 1 overall was a couple of early exits at the majors. 3rd round defeats in Australia and then at Wimbledon. In Australia, it was the teenager Linda Noskova knocking her off to shock the tennis world. Swiatek has to love this draw, though. She's on the opposite half of Sabalenka and Gauff, and her first couple of rounds don't seem too threatening. Amanda Anisimova could be difficult in round 3. She's had some big wins in Australia over the years. Number 26, Alexandrova against Emma Raducanu is a fun round 1 match. Raducanu still just 22 years of age, but she's only been past the second round of a major once since winning the U.S. Open back in 2021. 2-time Australian Open winner Victoria Azarenka playing in her 66th major. She made the semis just a couple of years ago. 13 seed Anna Kalinskaya was one of those unseeded quarterfinalists last year in Melbourne. Her game has matured and come a long way in the last year. We've got Kasatkina, Maria Sakkari. One more name to mention at the top, world number 8, Emma Navarro. Kind of came out of nowhere last year, only once passed the first round at a major prior to 2024, but last year she improved at each each and every Grand Slam. Third round Aussie Open, fourth round French, quarterfinals Wimbledon, and semifinals at the US Open. Navarro is cool under pressure. She's one to watch this season. I don't think she's quite hit her ceiling yet at number 8 in the world. So I think this is a supreme opportunity for Navarro to make a deep run, especially if Iga slips up early like she's done before in Australia. Overall, it's a really fun draw. The top half definitely more loaded, especially that second section, but should be an awesome couple of weeks down under. Thanks a lot for watching my Women's Australian Open preview. Please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on my analysis and who you think takes home the trophy down under in Melbourne. If you enjoyed it, though, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more sports videos. Cheers!